Yo fam, Tosh here. We've got a super exciting video today. So obviously, unless you've been under a rock, you know Crystal Veil has been launched. Everything looks beautiful. There were some slight hiccups with the bridging at first, but it seems like everything is really smoothed out, and it's really impressive. DFK is the first game ever to have a subnet on AVAX. And actually, it is the first subnet on AVAX out of any project. So super excited. Congratulations to the team for the success. But let's talk about the degen side of things, because that's what we're here for. If you want to make a big brain strategy for Crystal Veil plays, which are going to be super critical in the next week to make some really big money, lots of opportunity, you're going to need to consider all of these factors. Stay tuned for what they are. So the first consideration that you should have when you are crafting your Crystal Veil strategy is first how much Jewel or X Jewel you plan on bringing over. Really, I suggest that you bring almost all of your Jewel or X Jewel over unless you are planning on making a big purchase of an NFT soon. So if you're saving up for, let's say, like a mythic hero, or maybe you want like that Dark Knight or something that you always wanted, or maybe you're a big whale and you're looking for land, you're going to want to keep that Jewel ready to go, especially because as Jewel price pumps, the hero markets and NFT markets in general kind of go down a little bit. So in Jewel prices, you're going to get lots of good opportunities for purchases on the tavern. Another good thing to consider, so why you need to do that is because of the withdrawal fees. So when you withdraw from your gardens, here is the fee schedule. If you do that in under an hour, there's going to be a big 8% fee. Even under a day is a 4% fee. 3 days is a 2% fee, 1% fee after 5 days, which still kind of hurts, but depending on how much money you're working with. And then after 5 days in between two epochs, and in Crystal Veil, an epoch is exactly 1 week, then you get that 0.5%, and after 4 weeks it gets lower. So just consider that, and that's why you want to have that Jewel flexible if you do plan on making purchases of NFTs anytime soon on Sarandel. Second consideration for your big brain strategy is when to claim your crystal. So how this works with our different epochs is that each epoch, the rewards will both get slashed and your claim percentage will be increased. Note that if you are earning in Epoch 1 but don't hit claim yet, then you'll actually get the claim percentage for Epoch 2, which would be 7%. So every epoch from now on is going to be a plus 2%, with Epoch 1 being a 5% that your crystal is locked. So what that means, for example, is if I look at here right now, my unlocked rewards. Oh, wow. They did all the unlock rewards right now. What? All right, looks like we had a display error earlier. So right now, if I look at my unlocked rewards, I'm currently have 21.54 crystal that is unlocked. What that means, if I were to wait until Epoch 2 in this same amount, what I can do is I can divide this number by 5 to get what it would be for 1%. So divide this by 5, and now times this by 7. And if I wait until next week to claim this, this amount of crystal here would actually be worth 30 crystal, and that would go from my lock balance to my unlock balance. So that's a pretty significant difference. When we go from the change from Epoch 1 to Epoch 2, it's about a 40% difference there. So very significant to wait a couple epochs if you are doing that. Now, the downside to that is that if you are waiting, that means that you're unable to recompound your crystal. Right now, it doesn't really matter for this Jewel and X Jewel pairing, but the next pairings are all going to have crystal in them. So if you wait to claim this, then either you're missing out on the opportunities to sell at the current price of crystal, or you're missing out on the opportunity to recompound those earnings back into your pool, which obviously we all know compound interest does quite a bit to your profile over time. If you want to learn a little bit more about how these emissions actually work from the gardens, make sure to check out my video on the ice gardens to get a detailed breakdown of that. One more thing to consider is that if you ever withdraw your LP, whether that's the Jewel X Jewel or one of the crystal pairings that arrive soon, then it will automatically claim your pool. So be careful if your strategy is to hold on for a few epochs to claim that later. Make sure you aren't withdrawing anything from your pool because that will automatically claim everything. All right, another thing to consider is the airdrop for crystals. So Frisky Fox put out a very long announcement today just talking about their rationale of what they're doing and how they're planning on doing this airdrop. And then there's also links to the documents or the spreadsheets that have the wallets and how much crystal they are going to be airdropped. You can add those up and then you'll see your total there. So here's the thing, main thing that you need to know is that the airdrop is going to occur on 10 a.m. EDT, so daylight savings time on Saturday, April 2nd, tomorrow, if you're watching this now. And what this is going to do is it's going to put huge sell pressure on crystal. So there's going to be a really short window where people are going to be dumping crystal really fast. Expect a very dramatic price decrease on crystal tomorrow. And then once we get the pools open for crystal pairings, I think we'll start to see crystal price recover a bit. So the thing is that you really want to be there exactly when this airdrop starts. I plan on trying to sell and buy back in because, again, there is just going to be huge sell pressure on crystal. Everybody's getting these free tokens that are super valuable. People are going to want to sell them. And again, this is just my opinion, not financial advice here, especially since we don't have those crystal pairs open yet. I think there's no way that the crystal price isn't going to have a really dramatic drop. Now, when a token really dramatically drops, that can also mean for some great buying opportunities. So again, really big plays to be made this week in Crystal Vale. All right, fourth thing that you need to consider for your big brain Crystal Vale strategy is the timelines and the allocations of the new pools. So right now we have 100% of allocation in the Jewel to X Jewel pairing. Again, if you are a little confused about what I mean by these allocations, make sure you check out my Ice Gardens video where we go over that very thoroughly. And after this pairing, the next ones are going to be Crystal to Jewel and then Crystal to Avox or Avax, however you want to say it. And also what's really exciting is that there is going to be Avax emitted from these pools as well. I believe it's just the Crystal to Avax pool, but we'll see how that actually plays out. After that, it's going to be all of our blue chips. So with these allocations, right now we have 100% allocated in the Jewel to X Jewel. Let's say that these two pools get put up, and now that is split between 3 different pools, the rewards that we have right now. What that means is that if everybody stays in the Jewel to X Jewel pool, that it's going to be slashed by 1/3. But it's very likely that people will pull out, but again, they're going to face those withdrawal fees. So with these new pools, what we're going to see is at first there's going to be really high emission. So I'm sure they'll plan and tell us the exact times when those pools are actually dropped or those gardens are actually opened. And you can farm some really high APRs again at first, and then those will rapidly kind of normalize out. So what to expect is that when these new pools open, we're going to see really high APRs at first until they get loaded up. The Jewel to X Jewel pool is going to get slashed significantly, and you need to consider that, especially with the withdrawal fees that you're facing, and think about the what is actually worth it in these. All right, here we are at the jeweler on Crystal Vale, who actually only deals in crystal. So let's talk about this X crystal. So the airdrop is not going to be delivered in crystal. It's going to be delivered in this X crystal token. And right now, one X crystal is exactly the same value as one crystal. This works exactly the same as X Jewel, except that ratio of X Jewel is way higher. And obviously, we're going to see that for X crystal very soon. So this thing that you need to consider is with your X crystal, do we sell it, farm it, or hold it? So again, how this works is that this ratio will only go up. every time that there is a transaction involving crystal on the DEX, part of the fees go to a certain wallet, and that wallet will take some of the crystal, or if it's other tokens, they'll actually buy crystal with those tokens, and then what that will do is it's distributed amongst all of the X crystal holders. So what that means is that this ratio is only going to go up. It will never ever go down. Right now we're at a 1.0 multiplier, and if we think about how this works, is that the multiplier actually scales very fast at the beginning of things. We haven't seen it scale yet since there's no crystal transactions, but it's going to scale very rapidly once we see the crystal pairs get incentivized in the pools. Just to give you a little bit of history, is that with Jewel, that in about 5 weeks or so, we saw this multiplier go from 1 up to about 1.2 at the Gen 0 launch. So if you think about that, that's a 20% interest on your crystal, in about a month or so. So there's not many other places you're going to get 20% APR on a token in a month that is completely unlocked and ready to go. So that can be really valuable. Again, we talked earlier about as soon as this X crystal gets dropped, that there's probably going to be a huge dump in the crystal price. You may want to sell that right away. I personally am going to buy back in if I do take that option and try to capitalize on the cheap prices after the big dump. But you may just want to sell the crystal into USDC. But the issue with that right now is that you can't do it with USDC or a stable coin because those liquidity pools aren't open. So if you wanted to do that, you would actually have to bridge it over to a different chain, such as Harmony or Avax. If you are going with that sell strategy too, I think this is the riskier option, and you're going to need to be there to play really fast. I honestly wouldn't even try if you were 5 minutes late to the game on that, because it's going to be way low. But again, there's going to be different opportunities on both ends for buying and selling. So again, huge plays to be made here. You're going to want to be there to do something. The other option to do with your crystal would be to farm it. So you can take it all out of the X crystal and then start pairing it into the liquidity pools when those are open. So the advantages of this is that you're going to get those really high APRs that were only going to occur once in a lifetime on Crystal Veil. And the disadvantage of that is that most of your tokens are going to be locked. Again, you can avoid that a little bit if you wait a few epochs to claim your tokens, but in reality, most of your tokens are going to be locked with the farming option. You also have a higher risk of facing impermanent loss there. So Crystal, since it just came out, is going to be a super volatile token. So if we see that go up or way down from where you initially put your crystal in, there's huge opportunities for impermanent loss there. So be careful. The last thing that we're going to talk about today to consider for your Crystal Veil strategy is the opportunity cost of farming on Serendale, or farming on Crystal Veil, which I think right now is highly overlooked, and that is being farming on Serendale. So right now we're seeing some really massive APRs. Just a week or two ago, some of these APRs were under 200%, but now we're seeing some really healthy APRs over 400%. So that's extremely exciting to see. And if you think about this, if we do some quick math, right now the epoch that we're in allows for 60% of our Jewel to be unlocked. Also note that Jewel, it really is the main token. Like Jewel, everything revolves around Jewel. Crystal is only going to be useful on Crystal Veil, but Jewel is going to be usable on every single chain. And right now, X Crystal doesn't have governance power. Only X Jewel has governance power. We'll see if that changes later. Let's do some quick math on here. So right now, we're about 60% unlocked. So if we are doing 461% times 0.6, that means that we're getting 276% unlocked, and this is of potentially a better token. Now if we compare that over to our Crystal Vale Gardens at about 3,000%, and we need to times that by 0.05, our unlocked earning is actually only 150% APR. Now note you are earning 2850% APR on the locked side, but your usable tokens right now, Sarandale actually is almost twice as good right now. So I think a lot of people are really missing out by farming or not farming on the gardens here. I personally put a little bit more into the Sarandale Gardens today to help capitalize on this, and we'll probably make some more additions there soon as well. All right, well, that's going to wrap up our 6 considerations for forming our big brain Crystal Vale strategy. I'm really curious what is going to be part of your strategy. Throw that in the comments. I'd also want to know if there's anything that you identify that you're considering and taking it a part of your strategy that I didn't hit on in this video. Definitely shoot those in the comments because I'm always looking to improve my strategy as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. I also just did a Twitter giveaway for 50 Jewel winners will be announced very shortly. And so super exciting there. Make sure you follow me on Twitter for some of those opportunities as well. My Twitter is Tosh on Trash. Feel free. The handle's also in the description as well. Hope you guys have an awesome day. Good luck making these big gains in Crystal Vale. I hope everybody is taking advantage of these awesome opportunities and making something real for themselves here. Anyway, latest guys. See you on the next one.